We got Gators Breakdown here. We know we're business.
Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I am your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. And joining you right here on this big day, the legacy, big-time cornerback commit, Ben Hanks Jr., choosing the Florida Gators. Of course, following in his dad's footsteps, becomes that legacy recruit, choosing the orange and blue over Louisville and Miami. Big-time pickup here. Forget the legacy angle just for a second. You're really just getting a good player. Want the good players in recruiting? Got a good player here. So we'll dive into his commitment. But also on this episode of Gators Breakdown, an exclusive interview with wide receiver Naeshaun Montgomery about a week ahead of his decision. So he'll preview his decision, the type of player he is, all that good stuff right here on Gators Breakdown. So turning the page from fall camp just for a second. Got to hit some recruiting when the recruiting news, especially, is this good right here. And, hey, you know what we do? We'll get into it right here on this episode of Gators Breakdown. But before we do, make sure you help us out. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. I know you like the topic. You're right here. You want to follow what's going along with these commitments. Hit that like button. Show us some love right here on Gators Breakdown. Subscribe right here on YouTube as well, or your favorite podcast platform. And about running out of time, a couple weeks before the game, custom-made shirt there for your Beat Miami shirts. If you want it in time for the game, gatorsbreakdownmerch.com to order it, or just show some support. Get some generic Gator Breakdown gear out there as well. But certainly would not. Well, I'd love to see about as many of those Beat Miami shirts when we head down to the swamp in a couple of weeks, of course. But any love for Gators Breakdown, we'll take it. We'll take it there. But yeah, all right, let's get into it. Big recruiting episode here, but we will start first with, of course, hey, Gator Nation, you know how we do it. We got to commit, and that is Ben Hanks Jr., 6'1", 170 pounds, 4-star on both the major recruiting services, the 24/7 Sports and on the 24/7 Sports Composite. They have Hanks Jr. as the 101st overall prospect in the class of 2025. They rank him as the 12th ranked cornerback in the country, and the 18th player in the state of Florida. Very similar on the On3 industry rankings as well. They have him 102nd overall, the 11th ranked cornerback, and 15th ranked player in the state of Florida. Plays at Booker T. Washington in Miami, and of course, is the son of Ben Hanks, who played for Florida in the 90s under Steve Spurrier. Officially visited Louisville, Florida, Georgia, FSU, Miami in that order. And coming out of those visits, of course, was being told Miami and Louisville were also the schools to watch. And that ended up being the case. They were going to be the schools to watch along with Florida. And Florida had work to do to break away. And I know it's been told throughout here, a very important role in his sister getting a volleyball scholarship as well. For Florida, does that happen at Florida? Does it happen, locally, Santa Fe, whatever the case may be? But that was going to be an angle here for this recruitment as well. Well, Florida got it done. Florida, he's choosing the Gators. Miami had always been seen as the main competition, but Louisville really made a strong push late as well. So it seemed like, this at one point could go some different ways. Florida was probably trailing Miami heading into visit season, but ends up coming out on top here. So great work by the staff when coming into the summer. Had a lot of work to do to get out in front, and this staff gets the job done. And Hanks likes the legacy angle, and that was on full display on his official visit to Gainesville. The recruits were at Spurrier's and enjoying, themselves like they always do on those official visits to go to Spurrier's restaurant. But, of course, that one's got to mean a little bit more with his father in tow. We've seen some of the images. There's the image of Steve Spurrier, Ben Hanks Jr. They got to interact with Spurrier at dinner, so of course, I think it's going to play a factor, but though he does like the legacy angle, it's not the biggest factor overall. He says it's not a huge factor overall in his decision. The main reason Banks Jr. is a Gator is his relationship with the staff, mainly Billy Napier and, of course, DB coach Will Harris. So for Florida, of course, getting this class started, he's the first defensive back commit for the Gators for the class of 25. And just great work by the staff to make up all this ground heading into visit season. So in 2023, last season, Hanks Jr. was an all-day 2M, 1M selection by the Miami Herald. Finished his junior campaign at Booker T. Washington with 38 tackles, 6 interceptions, and 3 of those being pick sixes, 3 blocked field goals, and had a fumble return for a touchdown. So you're getting a guy who can do it all. Use the speed to his advantage. 3 pick sixes, 3 blocked field goals. He's a playmaker. He's a difference maker there on the field. As a sophomore, total 31 tackles, had 8 pass breakups, 3 interceptions in 11 games per Max Preps. It helped Booker T. Washington go 9-3 that year. Did get varsity snaps as a freshman at Doral Academy. Had 23 tackles, 2 interceptions as a freshman. So 24/7 Sports, of course, added their thoughts, their analysis of Ben Hanks. Let's pull up some highlights right here. A longer reactionary corner prospect that has gotten varsity snaps since he was a freshman down in the fertile recruiting grounds of Miami-Dade County. Size hasn't been verified, but multiple in-person evaluations suggest that he's over 6 foot and on the leaner side. Relatively fluid in the midline, which makes him rather effective in press coverage as he mirrors with hips and tries to steer wide receivers toward the sidelines. Has a knack for jumping routes. As we mentioned, had the 3 pick sixes as a junior, and will keep his eyes in the backfield when working in off coverage. Top end speed is a bit of a question mark at this stage and can struggle at times to keep track of much quicker assignments. Will likely need to add some body armor before he's ready to go on Saturdays, but should be viewed as a potential multi-year starter that can match up with larger perimeter targets in the Power 5 level given his reach. Likely to find success in a defensive system that favors one-on-one situations. Also going on there, has the link to be a boundary cornerback, the man coverage skills to be a field cornerback. He's a player who keeps improving year over year, has a high confidence level going into his final season at the high school level. So keep it going. I wanted to look back at camp, go back to camp season, and what were their thoughts there? Of course, highly ranked recruit, so going to get a lot of coverage, especially in South Florida. I mean, that's another big win here going into South Florida. As we mentioned, Miami was a factor here, and you get one of the best players in South Florida. So a big South Florida win here. So back in early June at the Miami camp, Christopher Stock of 24/7 Sports offered this of Hanks. Quote, Hanks was a star at cornerback and at receiver, leading his team to the championship and going 7-0 as he showed why he was the headliner of the event. Defensively, Hanks made his mark early in the tournament with a nice leaping interception along the sideline. Hanks was lined up on the outside, and the receiver got behind him, prompting the quarterback to throw the ball. However, Hanks' size and speed down the sideline were no match as he made an impressive leap and two-handed snag to corral the interception. He was not tested often on the day, as he blanketed receivers with good technique while playing man and footwork to prevent many openings. His height and length also make it difficult for defenders to get by him, but he has a good closing speed as well. The times he flipped over to offense, he also impressed. In the third game against Everglades Prep, he had a red zone opportunity from 10 yards out. He was jammed on the line of scrimmage, which Hanks was not expecting, as he thought the corner was going to fake the jam and drop back. Hanks was caught off guard, was slowed for a moment at the line of scrimmage, stayed with the play, got to an outside release where he created an opportunity. The ball was thrown to him, and he used his size and abilities to catch the ball over the cornerback for the touchdown. Also torched the defender, running right by him on a deep ball in a championship game for a touchdown. His playmaking ability was evident to see, but also he is a player who seems to really enjoy the game. He was constantly smiling throughout the day, joking with players and teammates, and carried himself as a highly regarded player, which he is. So there you go. Good look at the type of player, even in the camp setting, playing both sides of the ball, but big-time commit there for the Gators. You love the length, you love the size, you love hearing those type of things, and this, the way, the confidence, and you got to have confidence. You heard that analysis go, should be able to excel in one-on-one situations. Well, you got to have the confidence to be able to do so. All right, so keep it going right here. Hanks is the 13th commit for the 2025 class for the Gators, a third highest ranked in this class, only behind wide receiver Vernell Brown III and edge Jalen Wiggins. Florida now ranks 30th in the 24/7 Sports Composite team rankings there. So, good at the top of this class. Good state of Florida feel with Vernell Brown, Jalen Wiggins, and now Ben Hanks Jr. So, of course, the top of the class, the best of the class, these top 100-ish top players from the state of Florida. And looking at it, definitely needed to get a great corner in this class. Had that great haul of corners a couple of cycles ago with Jakeem Jackson, Sharif Denson, D.D. Johnson, Aaron Gates, all those guys 2 cycles ago. And then add Cormani McClain to that class as well as a transfer. I mean, that's your class to set it up. That is your class to set it up for the next few years. Then last year, brought in Teddy Foster. Then, of course, Jameer Grimsley. You end up getting him through the transfer portal. But he would have been, in that class last year anyway. So, now for this class, you're adding one of the best in the country. So there's plenty of highly rated cornerbacks to ballot out the next few seasons. Done a great job overall recruiting this position, especially a couple of cycles ago. That's going to carry you for a while. Those guys going into their second years now. They'll be third years now. So they have some great seasons next year. That's why you need players like this. Why you need players like Ben Hanks. This position has plenty of talent for Will Harris to tinker with and for the best combo, but plenty of options. Plenty of options here the next few years at the high level. Recruited really well. Go back and look at recruiting rankings of Jakeem Jackson, Sharif Denson, D.D. Johnson, Cormani McClain, of course. Jameer Grimsley. I mean, those guys were thought to be some of the best corners in their class. You had another one here in Hanks. All right, great look there. Gators getting a great one on the defensive side of the football. As I mentioned, the first defensive back commit. So we'll see, of course, on Saturday, depending on when you listen to this, of course, a lot of recruiting news this week for Florida. Bryce Fitzgerald going to make his decision. Does it look, about a day ahead, does it look like trending Florida right now? FSU, Miami, maybe that might be the battle for Fitzgerald. But we've seen it on ourselves as well. We just never know. So keep your eye on that one Saturday. But right now, hopefully we're coming back Saturday with another episode and another commitment there. But about a day ahead, I wouldn't be picking Florida right now. We'll see where it goes. I don't think it was over either, by the way. No matter who he chooses. If he was to choose Florida tomorrow, Miami, FSU, whoever it would be, I don't think Bryce Fitzgerald's final decision is going to be made on this Saturday. But another big decision coming next week. Another one. And this one on the other side of the ball. Could Florida add another big-time wide receiver? Great wide receiver haul so far with Vernell Brown III and Joshua Moore. They could be adding one more next week. He's got a decision. Naeshaun Montgomery speaks with me right here on Gators Breakdown. Naeshaun, thanks for taking time out of your day to join us right here and talk some Gators, talk some recruiting. I know it's about a week away from a big decision, but thanks for carving out some time for us.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get to it. Decision day, August 27th, 5 p.m. I believe that's what I saw there. So we're going to have that there between Florida, Alabama, Florida State, LSU, Oregon, and Penn State. So with the decision about a week away, how fluid is this? Do you already have a decision made, or are you still weighing your options?
I'm still weighing my options, trying to see what school I'll be attending.
Okay, and it's of course it's been thought that Florida, LSU may have separated from the rest. Is that the case, or is all those schools really grouped in together?
Right now, they're all grouped in together.
And what are you looking for in these schools? Like, what's going to separate and why you choose one of those schools?
My main thing is getting developed, and that's why I choose them top 6 schools, because I think all the receiver coaches can develop me and get me ready for the next level.
Well, what stands out about, if we can go quickly through all of them, we'll start with Florida, but what stands out about Florida in that regard? I know Billy Gonzalez there, wide receiver coach, of course, Billy Napier with a history at wide receivers in his coaching career as well. Is those two kind of working together, more just Gonzalez? So what do you like about Florida in that wide receiver position?
They really work together. Like Coach Napier is really like into it with the receivers, because he was a receiver guy, and Coach Billy Gonzalez does a great job with receivers, like what he did with Ricky Pearsall, and that's really what caught my eye.
And also, let's go back a year. I mean, of course, I'm sure when you step on the practice field, or if you choose to go to Florida as a freshman, we saw what Florida did with Trey Wilson last year as a true freshman. Does that kind of stand out in your mind of being able to play those young wide receivers?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, my goal is to play as a freshman, so just seeing them play freshmen, that's what really caught my eye also.
Has Florida shared with you how they would use you? Would they kind of use you like a Trey Wilson all over the field, or would just more of a downfield threat, more of a catch and run threat? Have they shared how they'll use you?
Yeah, when me and Coach Napier and Coach Billy Gonzalez talked, he said he'd use me as like a Trey Wilson. Like, I'll be in the backfield, slot, outside, just different ways to get me the ball.
I've asked some other, I've asked players this. I've asked Trey Wilson this. I asked Vernell Brown, the third, right before he committed too. I'm going to ask you this question. Would you rather take a 70-yard screen pass for a touchdown, or would you rather catch a 70-yard bomb down the field?
I'll go to 70-yard bomb.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Vernell chose the screen, so I'm glad we get some different answers there. So I guess you just use that speed to get past that DB in the end zone. What about LSU? Of course, that kind of seems to be the school that maybe has come about the most if it's between FSU or LSU and Florida. What about the Tigers stand out with head coach Brian Kelly?
Really like their receiver history, like Odell, Jay Jettas, Jamar Chase, all them guys now league neighbors. They do a great job with their receivers, just develop them and getting them ready for the next level.
All right. I'll just concentrate on those schools there. I know there's a lot of schools there. We'll concentrate more on Florida a little bit right here on Gators Breakdown. So what will the fall hold? I know that decision is next week. Will you still take visits to other schools during the fall, or is this kind of going to be looked at as more of a final decision?
After my commitment, I think I'm going to take like 1 or 2 more visits, but I think I'm still going to be locked in. Yes, sir.
Okay. So playing with DJ Lagway, of course, as certainly has to enter the mind for you. If you do choose Florida, he would be the quarterback for the next few seasons. Have you talked to him? Has there been a prior relationship with DJ Lagway? And of course, high profile quarterback. I'm sure you've looked at maybe the potential of playing with him.
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations. The first time I met him is when he first got there, and he was saying how, like, he watched my film, he likes the way I play, and I should be a Gator and I should be his ex receiver.
Does that help Florida in that regard, knowing that he could be there, he could be your quarterback for the next few seasons?
Yeah, that helps because, like, I got to get a relationship with the guy that's going to throw me the ball, and he's done a really good job with, like, communication and like, even on my OV, he was with me the whole time, just talking to me, showing me around, and that's really, like, what put them so high.
So looking at that, of course, if you look at Florida this fall, Lagway might get some time. I'm sure he'll be on the field a bit, but of course, different quarterback with Graham Mertz. What are you looking for if, of course, the decision's next week, but as you said, you'll still take other visits. The door might be open. So whether you choose Florida, whether you don't choose Florida, what are you looking for from Florida this fall?
Really like how they do with their, like, when DJ Lagway gets in to see what he does, and because I know he's a great quarterback, so I know he's going to do really good. But I just want to see, like, how he does in the offense with the weapons that he has.
Do you look at how the receivers are played? Does it weigh that the offense could be a little bit different with DJ Lagway, but you're still looking at what the receivers do?
Yeah, I'm still taking a look at what the receivers do, like how they run their routes. Because if I pick Florida, I'm going to be around those guys, so I want to, like, pick up a certain things to add it to my game. So that's why I'm kind of, like, watching all the schools' receivers and see what I can add.
Awesome. So, of course, you're a class of 2025 wide receiver. Florida has Vernell Brown III in the mix. Joshua Moore already committed to Florida, both from South Florida like yourself. So are those guys trying to sway you a little bit to say, let's get this South Florida connection in Gainesville?
Yeah, I was with Josh Moore on my OV, and I played with Vernell, like, a little bit of 7-on. And after he committed, he texted me saying, what are you waiting for? So they've been really pushing for it.
All right, and Yeah, I mean, look, man, that's got to be something, to have a group of players from that area and trying to get you to go to Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does that factor in that there are those guys from your area, and to want to maybe continue that?
Yeah, definitely. Like just seeing like the guys that's around my area, like Vernell's up top, Josh is like down the road basically, and just seeing like them guys really push for me. That's like really like what's like pushing them higher and higher.
Okay, keeping it going here. What do you do well? What kind of wide receiver are you? What kind of wide receiver would Florida be getting if you were to choose the Gators?
Shoot, I can go deep. I can take a slant to the crib. I can block for the running backs. Cause I can really do it all. Like you can put me in the backfield. I can get open. It's just like I'm also like a team player. Like if I'm not getting the ball, I'm gonna block and just stuff like that.
Where do you want to get better?
I really want to get in a weight room like stronger because if I do pick to go to an SEC school, they're gonna be a lot bigger and stronger. So that's why I'm trying to really like get faster and stronger.
Okay. We'll wrap up here in just a second. Of course, NIL is a huge factor now at the high school level in the state of Florida, but also at the college level. How is that factoring in? Do you look for do you look for that angle as well in making this decision?
Not really as much because like I'm picking a school for like to play the sport I love and stuff like that. So I don't really look into the money part, but it definitely plays a factor in it a little bit.
So I got to ask, when you're in college and you're scoring touchdowns left and right, what's going to be that dream NIL deal? If any big business out there wants to come and say, Naeshaun, let's partner up. What would be your dream NIL deal?
I love fishing, so I definitely want to get like a Bass Pro Shop type of thing.
Oh, there we go. That's unique, man. I like that. I haven't heard any answers like that though. So, hey, one of my next questions is going to be to get to know you a little bit better. Some of your favorite hobbies. So I'm assuming fishing is probably one of the favorite hobbies.
Yeah, like when I have free time, like when I don't have training or football, I go fishing in the backyard or I go like to the lake or something just to like ease my mind, take a break off football.
Okay, so no video games or anything like that too much?
I don't really play video games.
Okay, so I can't really ask you about the new NCAA game and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of taking us by storm a little bit lately.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good. So I do ask, when I have players on this as well. Now, I saw in the photo shoots you had the black jersey on. But what is your favorite Gator uniform combination? Would it be the blacks or would it be orange helmet, blue jersey? Any of those combinations for helmet, jersey, pants?
I think I got to go to all black.
Okay.
Feels different. I don't know what it is. It just feels different. Because I think I've been to Florida like four times, and I put on a jersey like 3 times, and I think the black one is the one.
Good deal. I mean, yeah, I saw the photo shoots. I figured that was going to be the answer, but I had to ask anyway. You mentioned going to campus multiple times, and of course that happened over the summer as well. Was that because Florida close drive, you can get there pretty easy, or was there something that you were looking for in each and every visit or each different visit?
Shoot, I've been to Florida a couple times and really like it's like the different feeling like when I get there. It's like they treat me like family. Once I step on campus, like when they open the doors, everybody's saying hi to my family and just really stuff like that. And that happened from the moment I got the offer till now. The communication has never changed.
I can't remember off the top of my head or not. Have you been to Gainesville for a game yet? Got on game day?
Yes, sir.
Which game?
I went to Tennessee.
Last year?
Yes, sir.
So you've seen as bad as crazy as the swamp can get there. Does that factor in your mind as well? It was a really good game for Florida, jumped out to a big lead over Tennessee. You got to see, some of the best of Florida in the last couple of seasons. Does that stand out, how that crowd just just kind of takes over the swamp?
That crowd is amazing. Like it's loud. Like even my little brother still talks about how loud the stadium is. So that was like, it was just crazy being in that environment, like in a big game like that.
Yeah, you got some big, your LSU, like you said, in your final. Penn State's there as well. Oregon, I mean, you got some Alabama, some rabid fan bases right there. Does that factor into the decision at all, or is it pure football aspect of things?
It's really mainly football, but like I definitely want to play in like a big crowd, so that plays like a part in it.
And last one here, as I mentioned, all those other schools, you got different conferences there. You got SEC, you got ACC, you got Big Ten. Does the competition you'll play, the teams you play, the schedule you'll play, does that factor into to anything around your commitment as well?
Not really, because like there's big time guys in any conference you go to, so I'm gonna play the top guys in whatever conference I go to, so it doesn't really matter which conference I go in.
And I lied, I do have one more. Since you get, like I said, Oregon, Penn State, Florida would be one of the local schools, Florida State, one of the local schools. Is distance? I mean, it doesn't seem like distance is going to play much of a factor either with all these finalist schools.
Not really, because I'm originally from Rhode Island, so I can play in the cold, the heat. It doesn't really matter.
When did you make that move?
Sophomore summer.
Sophomore summer. So, how was that adjustment going from up there to all this hot weather we have here in Florida?
The weather was crazy. It definitely kicked my behind in like the first week or so, and then I started like getting used to it, and now I'm good now.
Was it apparent right away how different high school football, the talent level down there in South Florida that you used to surround yourself with?
Definitely, because it's really it's like a faster change. Like guys down here is faster, stronger, and it's like I had to quickly adjust. So I definitely I joined track to get faster. I was in the weight room, so I think I'm good now. But when I first got here, I definitely had to make a quick change.
All right, so Naeshaun, thanks, man. We await your decision next week. Anything out there you want anybody to know about a week ahead of your decision?
Shoot, if I do pick Florida, you guys definitely getting a great receiver, and I definitely want to come break all the records. Awesome,
man. We look forward to your decision. Of course, here on Gators Breakdown, we hope it's in orange and blue. Hey, but good luck with your decision either way, man. Thanks, like I said, thanks for carving out some time and jumping on Gators Breakdown with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Thank you so much for joining me right here to talk recruiting, right here in the middle of fall camp games coming up in a couple weeks, of course, but big recruiting news right here with a big decision and one more coming up with Naeshaun Montgomery next week. Hopefully he's in the orange and blue. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I am your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me on this episode of Gators Breakdown.